You've been out doing showings, maybe you've been at an open house, now you're ready to make an offer on the home of your dreams. Your real estate agent asks, where's your pre-approval letter? When you hand it over, it doesn't say that. It actually says pre-qualified. Is that a big deal? What's the difference? What does it mean? Stick around, we're gonna break this down today. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It is Central Maine's realtor, Nick Isgro with eXp Realty. And today we are gonna break down the differences between what does it mean to be pre-qualified for a mortgage and what does it mean to be pre-approved? These are two very different things. They get mixed back and forth. A lot of people interchange the terms, but they're not actually the same. And though it might be a very quick video today comparatively to some of the other videos, it's a very important distinction. It's something that I'm running into right now while I'm out. A lot of buyers, very active. We're looking at a lot of houses. You do want to know the difference because one may give you the edge, so you want to stick around to find out what that is. Before I get into that, I want to welcome you here to the channel. If you've never been here before, we cover all things real estate here in the state of Maine, particularly right here in the Central Maine market. Now, if that's of interest to you or adds value to your process in the buying and selling of homes, do me a favor, go ahead and like this video, hit subscribe, knock that little alarm bell. You'll be notified every time I put out new content. So let's jump right in at the top here, and you should know right up front that different lenders are going to use different terms, but for the sake of this video, we're going to use the terms pre-qualification and pre-approval for these two stages of the loan application process. Now, one of these is a bit more formal than the other. We're going to break that down for you, and we're going to start with the less formal, and that is the most typical, the one we see often, which is pre-qualification. So what does it mean to be pre-qualified for a mortgage? In a nutshell, pre-qualification is this. You're going to call the lender or sit down with your lender and go over some of your basic income situation. You know, what is your income? What are your debt limits? What are your monthly payments? It may or may not involve some kind of check on your credit. And you should know that, you know, a check on your credit, what we call a hard check on your credit, which definitely happens in the loan application process, can lower your score slightly. Sometimes during this phase, they might be able to do what's called a soft check. You just want to check with your lender depending on what the credit check is. But in general, where there's not a lot of in-depth verification during this process, this is a time where you're going over your general scenario with the lender. They're basically taking your word for what are your debts, what is your income, and coming up with an overall financial picture so they can tell you roughly, here's about the home that you can afford. Now, this is definitely an important step in the process because before you even get online and start looking around, you want to have an idea of what is it that you can afford, or maybe what you want to afford, because sometimes you might be qualified for a loan amount that far exceeds what you're actually comfortable paying. So you can start to take these numbers, put them in the calculators, start estimating what those loan payments are going to be, and really get a good sense of what is the kind of house that you want to be looking at that's going to match what you're looking for in the price range that you're looking for. But there's going to be also some more hard parameters like what that says you're qualified for. You're probably not going to be going out and, you know, looking at homes that are $50,000, $100,000 over what you are even pre-qualified for, because really the measurements only get stricter from here as we get into the pre-approval process. So pre-qualification, you're ready to look at houses, you're talking to the real estate agent and you want to get out there. A lot of times the real estate agent is going to want to know that you are pre-qualified before you go look at homes. I never make that something that's really absolute when I'm doing it. For me, oftentimes somebody's going to call and they already have a home in mind they want to look at. It's going to be part of the conversation. I'm going to ask, are you pre-qualified? Are you pre-approved? If you're not pre-qualified, we're going to talk a little bit on that first conversation about various lenders, strengths and weaknesses, where you might go for that process if you don't already have somebody to look for, because it's something that we want to get done up front. Doesn't mean I'm not going to show you the home, but in order to really move forward and get a robust search, if that's not the home for you, we want to make sure that we have some general parameters to work with. So what does this mean for the seller? If you're putting in an offer on a home and you're sending over, you know, your suggested purchase and sale agreement, you've signed the disclosures, and you're going to typically send with that either the pre-approval or the pre-qualification. Now, if you have a pre-qualification, you're signaling to the seller and the seller's agent that you've done something with a lender. You've gone to a lender, you've given some scenarios, and the lender has said, yes, this looks like you're probably going to be able to qualify for a loan of, you know, X amount, whatever that amount may be. And so there's a good chance that when you follow through, as long as you were honest during that process, if you follow through and go ahead with the mortgage application, that you're going to be actually approved for the loan. So it's a good start. And actually, to be honest, here in the Central Maine market, pre-qualification is the majority of what I see when I'm working with buyers, and frankly, when I'm on the selling side and we get the offers in as we're going through a lot of pre-qualifications, not tons of pre-approvals. However, does that mean that's the best scenario? No, it doesn't. And here's why. A pre-approval is far, far more in-depth, and it's gonna send a note of seriousness not only to your buyer's agent that you're working with, but also sellers that you're putting in offers with and the seller's agents. It's gonna give everybody a lot more confidence, and here's why. The mortgage pre-approval process takes the loan application to the next level. You're going to have to offer proof of income verification, proof of employment. The lender is probably gonna ask for W-2s, current pay stubs, summaries of your assets. So all of the stuff you claimed on the pre-qualification process, now you're moving to the next step. You're going to have to prove it. They're going to check your credit. They're going to put this whole thing together so that when the lender is done, they can say, yes, you're pre-approved. That means if you go out and you're looking at homes and here's the loan amount that you're working with, here's the loan type, everything fits in these standards that we're setting forth here in this pre-approval, we're saying that you're going to get that loan, barring some craziness that you do something that messes up all the things that we've already looked at and already verified. So it is more intense. If you're a buyer, it takes more time on the front end to get this done. It's a little more intrusive. There's a little more groundwork on your part. But what happens next? Here's the thing. When you go out, you find that dream home, you put your offer in, and you submit the pre-approval, you are showing to the seller, as well as the seller's agent, that maybe, let's put a scenario here, maybe you're just a few $1,000s less than what they have for their highest offer. But maybe that other person's pre-qualified, you're pre-approved. Guess what? You've sent over an offer that has the confidence that you're going to get that loan, and furthermore, that you're going to make it to the closing table, because there's a lot less likely chance of something happening because the bank's already verified all the information. You're not starting from scratch like the pre-qualified candidate would. So if you're pre-qualified, you go through the loan application process, then they start verifying all of that information. Pre-approval, that's already done. So the seller's agent and the seller know you're definitely a serious buyer, you're ready to buy, and that loan is probably gonna happen because the bank has pretty much already told you that it's going to. So to wrap this all up, pre-qualification is great when you start looking at homes. It's gonna give you that general sense of what you're looking for. But if you really wanna make the most serious offer and you really wanna get your offers accepted and be considered on that top tier of the offers, get pre-approved. Being pre-approved is the way to go. It's definitely going to make your offer stronger. And if you think about it, you've already done a lot of legwork. So you might be putting more work in on the front end of your process, but you're saving yourself, frankly, a lot of work, because think about it. Let's say you get that home into escrow. Now you've got to think about things like the actual mortgage application. You've got to think about things like, your inspections, if you have a contingency for inspections, and just getting yourself ready for a move. A lot of the legwork that you would be doing at that time is going to already be done. Yes, you might have to offer supplemental things like new pay stubs and making sure you're keeping current with your debts and things like that, but it won't be the kind of work that you're faced with had you gone into the process of the purchase only pre-qualified. So there it is, just a quick video going through the differences. What does it mean to be pre-qualified for a mortgage versus being pre-approved? Pre-approved, obviously, after watching this video, a much, much stronger position to be in, and the position that I would definitely recommend to all of my personal clients that they would go through. Of course, I always want to know, what has your experience been? Are you out there right now? Maybe you've been pre-qualified, maybe you've been pre-approved. What was that process like for you? Or maybe you have a question about what it's going to be like as you get into this process. Either way, go ahead, drop a comment below. Love to hear from you there. Of course, as always, I appreciate each and every one of you for sticking around to the end of this video. Until the next one, I'll see you next time.